Our investigation shows that a Syrian security firm that was contracted by the United Nations and which received over $11 million in contracts from the United Nations was in fact owned by the Syrian intelligence services, specifically the General Intelligence Directorate, which was one of the most ruthless enforcers of the Assad regime's rule, committed torture, committed rape against the Syrian people. What we have are documents from the company itself, Shuruk, stating that it's owned by the Assad regime, and documents from the intelligence services that strategize about how to help the company in its business affairs and specifically its relationship with the United Nations. The United Nations said we have no official documentation stating that this company is owned by Assad's intelligence services. They didn't say it wasn't. They didn't say they didn't receive any information that it was owned by Assad's intelligence services. They just said they didn't have official documentation. Furthermore, what they said was that during the bidding process for these these UN contracts, these UN security contracts, the Assad regime revoked the licenses of all but two companies, two Syrian security firms, meaning that the United Nations really had extremely limited options on who to hire as a contractor. They also said they had classified Shuruk as a high-risk supplier, meaning that it posed operational, reputational, legal risks, humanitarian risks for the UN. But nevertheless, they gave it contracts from 2014 until the end of the Assad regime in 2024. And also, they had been warned in 2022 about this company's ties to the Assad regime by human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch and the Syrian Legal Development Program. And even after those warnings, the contracts continued and in fact grew larger. I think it is important for international organizations to reckon with how they dealt with such an autocratic regime. You know, the same people that were detaining and torturing and murdering Syrians are the same people who were benefiting from these contracts with Shuruk, who were benefiting from UN dollars. And I think that is an unexplored topic. It's not enough to simply say the Assad regime was awful, but that's something that occurred far away in Syria and is in the past. The Assad regime was awful, and its awfulness was abetted by international organizations that hold themselves to a far higher standard. And that's something that the world needs to know.